Thank you so much, Sanjeev, for doing this for me.
Thank you for calling me.
First things first, how would you define entrepreneurship?
I think an essential component of entrepreneurship, real entrepreneurship, is pioneering and innovating.
Okay.
If you're just doing a Me Too, then you're starting a business.
Right.
So, real at the core of entrepreneurship is first generation, risking not just your money, also your life, and doing something that nobody's done before.
Wow, that's amazing. That was your thought process when you actually started out Naukri?
Well, no, I mean, you don't start. Look, this is now in hindsight.
Correct.
After doing it for 20, 25 years.
Right.
This is what I believe.
Okay.
When you're starting out, it looks like a good idea. You do it.
And you take the risk.
Yeah, that's right.
So I believe that you believe in calculated risks. What is a calculated risk?
Well, I think a calculated risk is essentially about risk management. You're mitigating your risk.
Okay.
Because see, a lot of people look at return.
Right.
They don't understand risk well enough.
Okay.
But if you want to succeed over the long term, I think you really have to look at risk, possibly even more than you look at return.
Okay.
So you've got to manage and mitigate risk.
Okay.
So how do you do that, right? There are several ways. So the first thing you look for is you go and talk to customers. If the customer tells you he wants it,
right,
that's one element of risk removed.
That's our first litmus test.
Yes. So one of the key questions that we ask entrepreneurs before we invest in startups is, where did you get the idea from? Ye idea kahan se aaya? Now let's take the case of Zomato.
Right.
It was then called Food eBay. So when I met Dipinder Goyal for the first time, I asked him, Dipinder, where did you get the idea from?
Right.
And the story is very interesting. So he was working in Bain Consulting in Gurgaon. Now Bain Consulting has got maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 people.
Right.
Mostly male, mostly young, mostly unmarried, mostly living away from home. So they would work late nights. They wouldn't get food from home. So now they often had a cafeteria where they wouldn't serve food. You have to get your own food.
Okay.
So the admin guy had collected takeaway menu cards from about 50, 60, 70 restaurants which delivered to that location. And he put them all in a folder.
Right.
In the cafeteria, that you come and you look at the folder, you figure out what you want to order, then you order.
Sure.
Now, it was a shared resource, you couldn't take it to your desk.
Correct.
So Dipinder said, yaar, 1 baje line lag jati thi. It's a huge pain.
Right.
So one weekend, I just came and I scanned all the menu cards and put them on my personal page on the office intranet.
Dipinder did that?
Yeah.
All right.
For everybody to access.
Cool.
Right? 2 days later, he says the IT infra manager came to him and said, yeah, what have you done? How come all the internal traffic is going to your page?
Right. Okay.
Right. That is clear evidence that this thing is solving a problem.
Right. Correct. Sure.
And that's when he went out and aggregated menu cards of restaurants around the city.
Wow.
And started Food eBay.
Excellent.
Okay. So now he could have got some other idea and not checked it out without this evidence, gone ahead and done it. It may not have worked.
Right.
That's a risk. He mitigated the risk by looking for evidence
within his own circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So you mentioned about success as well. So if I were to ask you, are you successful?
Look, if you look at conventional standards, that look, is Naukri doing well? Is it valuable? It's listed, so many people, it's a good brand. By all those yardsticks, yeah, successful. But I think, success is about setting your goals and achieving them. For the longest time, we defined mere survival as success.
Right.
If you can survive and you can pay your salary at the end of the month and live for the next month, you've succeeded.
Right.
And I think for the first 10 or 15 years, that's what success is about.
Right.
So success, what changes?
Right. So in hindsight, if you were to say that these are the 3 definite steps to success, what would they be?
I think breaking even. I think getting customer, making sales to customers and getting repeat purchase.
Right.
Right. That's a very important thing. I think evidence of natural traction that the way Dipinder saw, or the way we saw in Naukri when we first launched it. That look, we are getting traffic without advertising, and more is coming.
Right.
These are all straws in the wind of early stage success.
Right. So Sanjeev, after Naukri, Jeevansathi, now also
99 acres.
Oh, 99 acres, yes, of course. And of course, Ashoka, how did that come about?
So once again, there were a couple of eureka moments. So around maybe 2005-6, I bumped into somebody who'd been a year junior to me in college, and I was meeting her for the first time after graduation. That's 20 years earlier, at a conference dinner. And I asked her, "So what are you doing?" She said, "I went to D school to do my MA in economics after graduating from St. Stephen's College in economics, which is what I had also studied.
Right.
And now I'm teaching in a college in Delhi University."
Achha.
So I asked her, "Great, what are you teaching?" She said, "The syllabus has not changed since 1980.
Wow.
I said, "What?" So there's a new economic policy, communism has collapsed, all these things that happened. India's got a different economic strategy now. And, yeah, but it's the same syllabus. And I was saying, wow, this has to change. Then I went to Cambridge, just visiting, and I looked at the first year of microeconomics textbook, and I figured that they study more microeconomics than I did in 3 years in Delhi University.
Right.
They studied in the first year.
Right.
Then I learned that if you do a BA from Delhi University in economics, you go and join second year BA in Cambridge.
Achha.
So they regard their first year as equal to our 3 years. So a bunch of things happened, and then I figured maybe it's time to look at starting a new college.
Okay.
On a different pattern and standard. I also began to, I used to go to various IITs and IIMs and other colleges to give talks.
Right.
And I came away saying our students are brilliant, but we need a new type of institution.
So what is the difference that Ashoka brings?
So Ashoka has got 2-3 things. One is it's multidisciplinary, which means that, so every institution is multidisciplinary, but students study a single subject.
Right.
So if you study economics in Delhi University, you study economics.
Correct.
Right? At Ashoka, we give width and then you major. So you study 6, 7, 8 subjects, and then you decide what you want to major in.
Okay.
So when you come in, we allow you to change your major.
Sure.
After 1 year.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So one is that. Now this single subject silo is a system we inherited from the British.
Okay.
Width and then major is the American system.
Right. Correct.
Now life is multidisciplinary. You've got to join dots across various domains. So we believe this is better. We also believe that, look, at 18, you may not know enough to give a firm choice of major.
Correct. For the rest of your life, how can you kind of decide?
And after experiencing 6, 7, 8 subjects, you can figure out your major better.
Sure.
Right? Now, both my children have gone to the US to do college.
Right.
And I'm saying to myself that, look, why do I have to send my kids 10,000 miles away? Why can't we have a really great college along those lines in India? And I used to stand outside the student counselor's, overseas admissions counselor's office in my daughter's school. And there used to be a big crowd of students there.
Right.
And I used to talk to them, and I quickly figured out that, listen, these kids are really bright. There is no way they can afford to go if they don't get a scholarship.
Correct.
And I said, why can't we get it more affordable in India?
Right.
The same quality of education, which is what Ashoka.
That's wonderful. But sometimes I even wonder, do we also have enough workplaces to absorb this kind of talent, the kind of education they're going to get in universities like Ashoka, or will they, after graduating again be in a similar situation as to, where do we go? What do we do?
So look, smart kids will get good jobs.
Okay.
Right? You've got to produce enough talent.
Right.
So the challenge of India is that we've got lots of people.
Right.
We don't have too many talented people. So if you produce talent, they will find jobs.
Cool. So we're talking about Ashoka. How did that, pan out? Did you do that individually?
No. It's a hugely collective effort.
Okay.
So when I sort of figured out that maybe it's time to start a new type of college in India, I went to Ashish Dhawan, who was then heading Chris Cap, and I was pointed in his direction by one of my independent directors. I said, listen, Arun Duggal, said, talk to Ashish, he's also interested in education.
Okay.
So I went to Ashish and I said, Ashish, this is what I think, that maybe it's time to start a new college which is genuinely multidisciplinary.
And truly in the entrepreneurial spirit, I guess, you're always buzzing with ideas. You got to do something. Fruition pe leke aana ye idea hai.
No, I mean, you discuss, and then maybe out of 100 things you discuss, one you actually do. But the key is to keep discussing and keep having conversations. So Ashish said, great idea. Let's take this forward. So then we went to Pramod Sinha, who was the founding dean of ISB. He actually was instrumental in setting up ISB for McKinsey. And we told him that, listen, we wanted to join us because as a team, 3 of us, and we want to do this, and we will, we need your help. So we kind of talk. There were a few other people also at that time who had studied in Delhi University in St. Stephen's College and said, okay, we've got to do something that improves the current system. There was Chandan Mitra, Abhijit Bhaumik, right? A few others. And we did that. And after a few months, Pramod said, listen, there's a group of people who have also approached me. They're from ex-IIT and they want to start a technology college along the lines of a great technology college. Okay. And it's going to be a big task. So why don't the two of you merge? So suddenly we had 9-10 people.
Wow.
Okay. Along the way, what happened was that the idea got morphed into being pure liberal arts and sciences.
Okay.
And we said we'll do engineering later.
Okay.
And that's how it happened. So today there are close to 100 founders.
Right. Close to 100 founders, is that correct?
That's right.
Wow.
So Ashoka is the largest collective private philanthropy project in India.
Wow, that's amazing. That has to be a feat in itself. So coming back to the entrepreneurial sector and the importance of co-founders, considering that Ashoka has 100 co-founders, but people who are starting out, what do you have to say to them?
So I think co-founders are good and useful, provided the chemistry is right. Now, logically and rationally, you should get co-founders with complementary skill sets.
Right.
But that doesn't usually happen. Your co-founders are people you've worked with, you've perhaps studied with, they're in your neighborhood, they could be in your family.
Right.
And you look more at chemistry and emotional support for each other in the beginning, as compared to rational. You don't recruit a founder.
Right.
Right. You meet and
Right.
And you figure out that both of you want to do the same thing.
Right.
And that's when you do it.
Sure. But does that also sometimes lead to a certain kind of a dysfunction if you're, culturally not aligned or something's going wrong?
Look, yes, it can. I mean, I have seen, founders split up, and that isn't great. But in general, having co-founders with diversified ownership of the company is something which I think is good for the company. It reduces risk. Investors love it. Right? And they typically, having 2 or 3 good co-founders improves the chances of success.
So you look at co-founders when you are looking at an entrepreneurial venture to invest in?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool.